This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello there, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of CWK Live, or welcome if it is your first time joining us. I am your host, Dan Zehr, delighted to talk Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, it is great to see all of you here on CWK Live. Jason is here. Hello there, Jason. Great to have you. Adam says, greetings, programs. What a great little Tron text there. Hillary, hey, great to see you. Hello, Robert. Happy Tuesday to you. Darren is here. CWK Day. Darren is joining us on YouTube, which is cool. As is Mr. Fudge. Hello, Mr. Fudge. Mary is here. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is safe and warm on the East Coast. No kidding. Robert says, sorry I couldn't make it last week, but I had a good excuse. I was at Okas and Batu East. That is a great excuse. And Robert, if you haven't done so already, please post some pictures you'd like to share with us in the CWK Cafe. I'd love to see them. What a great thing. What a great thing. So thank you for your patience. I don't know if you, like me, you were scrambling to find the link for tonight's show. I wasn't scrambling to find it. I was scrambling to create it. There were a couple of technical errors. Well, we got them worked out, obviously, because here we are, which is so good. What's up, Nick? Rising Moons, great to see you, buddy. And Burnt Waffle is here, too. Let's take a look at what is going on today on CWK Live. We've got your top 5 quotes from Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, some Star Wars news and updates, and, of course, Aurebesh lessons and your comments and questions. Hello, Blake. Great to see you, too. All right, well, now let's take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
So I wish, sometimes things happen in life that you don't want to happen, but they do. And we acknowledge them and we pay respects. We lost Carl Weathers, or we found out about it last week. He died in early February, but it was just announced last week by his family. That happened after Coffee with Kenobi did both shows last week. So Carl Weathers was an icon. He wasn't just someone who was in The Mandalorian. He was certainly famous for the Rocky films. He was in so many other things. A dynamic person, speaker, actor, and just a great presence. Years ago, when The Mandalorian started, I was invited by Disney to go to California and to sit in person with him and other cast members of The Mandalorian before season 1 even aired. And I didn't really know Pedro Pascal super well then, but I knew who Carl Weathers was. So I couldn't go on that trip. I didn't get a chance to meet him face to face, and that stinks. It always bugged me. It bugs me even more now. But I had school things that I had to do, so I had to work, right? And that's, as much as Coffee with Kenobi is like a second job for me, my first job always has to come first, naturally. So I wasn't able to go. I sent my brother-in-law, Bill, to go. He's covered some things for me in California several times. And he got to sit with Carl, and he's got some great stuff on Facebook about it, but I'll just summarize it for you. Carl Weathers was amazing. His persona was larger than life. His forearms were huge. His fists were big and powerful. But he was a good, gentle, kind man, very patient with everybody. You can just tell, you can tell a good soul. And I've seen Carl Weathers in person, from afar, different celebrations and things like that. But from all accounts, anyone who has ever seen him, says he was amazing. So definitely rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Love and prayers to you and your family. We certainly pray for the repose of your soul in heaven. And grateful for your contributions, not only to Star Wars, but to everybody that you interacted with. And just got the chance to be around. Blake says, I saw Carl in person in 2019 at the Mando panel in Chicago at Celebration. His energy and presence was unreal, a legend. Yeah, he had this great way to hype up the crowd, didn't he? And just bring excitement. He loved being in Star Wars. Liberty says, I missed my opportunity to meet him in Rhode Island. You just don't expect to lose people. He looks so good. I watched a panel with him and he was great. He looks so healthy. I totally agree with all of this, for sure. And Mr. Fudge says, rest in peace. Definitely rest in peace. I don't have other news. I feel like, that just kind of stands on its own. So we're going to move on. But again, we'll always remember Carl Weathers for just being an amazing, amazing guy. We're going to go ahead now. It's a rough transition, but we're going to persevere. We're going to go into our Aurebesh lessons for the week. This is week 12. So before we get started, let's do like we did last week. Let's get a piece of paper. I've got a clean piece of paper right here. We're going to list from A to K. Yeah, we did A to K. So let's give it a shot. Go ahead and make your alphabet on your piece of paper. And I will do the same here. Here's B, C. Is it possible for my handwriting to get worse every single week? Apparently it is. D, E, F. Oh, I did it right. Good. G. Those of you watching, all you can see is my head down because I'm writing it because I don't want you to look at my paper. Come on. That wouldn't be very Jedi-like, would it? Plus, actually, more accurately, I probably need to look at your papers. We'll see. So A, F, G, H, I, J, and then K was the new one from last week. Let me think about this. I did it right. Yes. So, sorry. I just became like a little kid there. So A through J, there's basically what it looks like. I'm really proud of myself that I got this right. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. All right there. How about it? How did you do, everybody? Did everybody else do well? It's pretty neat as I've been watching The Bad Batch, which I will talk about in a second. I have seen the first 8 episodes of season 3 of The Bad Batch. Again, I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm trying to read Aurebesh when it's on the screen, and look, it's not jumping to my brain because I'm like, okay, wait, this comes here and this is B, but it's getting better. Again, the only way this gets better is through practice, practice, practice. Write it, read it, try to explain it to other people. Just the repetitive nature. It's been said it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert in something. We don't have to be experts in Aurebesh, but it would be fun to be able to learn it together. So please post in the comments. How are you doing? Did you get A through J? Did you have any that you messed up? Let me go to the end here. Oh no, I don't have it. I don't have the list. They should look. We'll do the intro again, and I'll pause it. Okay, there it is again, so you can check your grade, check how you did. Again, please comment if you how you did, because I would love to know how you did. So let's go through the new stuff. Here it is again. There's A. Hopefully you all got the A correct. I feel like that's the easiest one. Again, that's one we spent the most time on. And the more you spend time on something, the better you are at it. There's B. There's C. There's D, which is at 7. Robert got 100%. Bravo, Robert. There's the E, which is like a V and an I combined. There is the F, which is the really funky looking one that I got. It took me forever to master, but now I feel good about it. Mary did great. There's the G. Liberty, you know what it is. Liberty missed the K from last week. Just had to learn that one. Having fun with this. Good. I'm glad. The K, I was like, wait, do I remember? And then I remember it's like a sideways. It's like a square without the left side. You'll see in a second. I always laugh at myself because I think it's important to laugh at yourself. But when people are listening, because as many people watch this, thousands more listen to it. If everyone who listened to this watched it, we would have probably one of the top YouTube channels on YouTube's platform. So encourage people to join in with us on the live video if you can. That would be amazing. But if you're not, totally fine. You can watch replays, and of course, you can listen to it on your podcast catcher. everywhere podcasts can be listened to. But I can't imagine what it would sound like to listen to this over and over again and not see what we're doing. There's the H. It's just 3 lines, but the middle one is a lot smaller. On both sides, the I looks like the number 1. And there's the J. It almost looks like you're going like this upside down, like that quarterback for the Giants. And then the K, the new one we learned last week, which, as you can see, is just a little square, but the left side, there's no vertical line. Leo is here. What's up, dude? And he says, happy CWK Day, Leo. Great to see you. Liberty says, yes, the Sandcrawler. I know, it's the best. That's the Liberty special. Let's look at HIJK, the letter L. There's a letter L. It's a line straight down and then a diagonal. It's almost like a sideways. It's like, I don't know, it's like a V. It's not like you're making a peace sign sideways. So try this. Write the letter L as you see up here on the screen like 20 times. And then when you're writing it, just write L. Just say to yourself, L. I'm drawing a line down. And then line from the very bottom of that horizontal line, I'm going up diagonally. Almost like I'm doing a slash, but I only go halfway. And that is L. And I have drawn, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've drawn 6 so far, and every single one looks exactly not the same. Looks exactly different. L, L, L. I guess the trick really is that both lines are the same length. They just don't look like it because of the shape they're going. Wow. I'm just not a good drawer. But that's okay. Liberty says, I keep forgetting to mention how I practice. Yeah, let's hear. I take text and just translate it into Aurebesh. I write the normal letters. If I haven't learned them yet, it's working for me. So where are you translating it? Is it like a special website or a program? Because that's a good tip. Post that in the cafe or right here in the comments if you can. That would be really cool. I love that. Adam says, look like a crooked check mark. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Like a crooked check mark. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. Totally like a V on an angle. Yeah, but like it's a little bit wider too, isn't it? Anyway, so there you go. That's the one for this week. That is L. So we are, 13 letters into this thing. Of course, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. We're cruising along, friends. We are cruising along. But now it is time to fast forward a bit with the show, and we're going to go into our top 5. Tonight's top 5 is the final film in the original Star Wars trilogy. It is, of course, Return of the Jedi. This is your top 5 Return of the Jedi quotes. Oh, I'm translating. I see. I just write the text as Aurebesh. Oh, I see. Aurebesh.org is a nice online way to practice. Oh, Aurebesh.org. Okay. Well, check out Aurebesh.org and then come back on the live show and show off what you've learned. That would be great. All right, let's do top 5 Return of the Jedi quotes. I know Mary has said repeatedly this is her favorite film in all of Star Wars, right, Mary? Is that right? So let's see what kind of quotes we've got from this thing. Number 5 from me is, I don't know, fly casual. A great line from Han Solo. Han Solo's got some great funny lines. He's definitely more of a tertiary character in Return of the Jedi compared to The Empire Strikes Back. But he's still got some really, really funny stuff. And I think he does grow in a very different way, but very interesting and worthwhile. And of course, the performance by Harrison Ford is great. So I don't know. Fly casual. That always got a laugh when I saw it in the theater and always made me so happy. Adam's number 5 gift. What gift? He says, C-3PO is a Rodney Dangerfield of droids. He gets no respect. That's great. Mr. Fudge is number 5. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. Let's go back and tell Master Luke. And 3PO says it really quickly because he wants to get away from from Jabba as quickly as possible. And we understand why. Darren's 5. I love you, I know. The role reversal from The Empire Strikes Back. But this time Leia says, I know. It is a great moment. Robert's number 5. The classic, you rebel scum. Number 5 for Nick. Just images, really. Feeling. She was very beautiful, kind, but sad. Leia's language is dramatically different in this movie. She's grown to show her vulnerability and softness since losing Han. That's a pretty insightful way to put that, Nick. I like that. Jason's 5. How are we doing? Same as always, Luke. That bad, huh? That's a good one, Jason. I should have thought about that. That's some great banter between Han and Luke. Mary says yes, it was correct. Jedi is her favorite, and her number 5. It's against my programming to impersonate a deity. That's right. And then Han does not like that so much, but it could get them out of trouble with the Ewoks. Leo's number 5. You're a jittery little thing, aren't you? And that is, of course, from Leia to Wicket. Is anyone going to put Yub Nub? I guess we'll find out. 5 for Liberty. I'm out of it for a little while and everyone gets delusions of grandeur from Han. I love that line. Blake's number 5. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. So good. He says that line is delivered in such a dark way and really sets the tone off the bat for the film, and it's accompanied by the dark musical score. I remember how ominous that was and people laughing. I remember saying to my mom, why are people laughing? And she says, because Darth Vader doesn't mean that. He's not really forgiving. I'm like, oh, that's right. Number 5 for Burnt Waffle. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight and friend to Captain Solo. He's so distinguished and got so much clout in that experience, in that exchange. Mary's Fly Casual is definitely an honorable mention. I almost wrote it down. It's so fun. Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4, top 5 quotes from Return of the Jedi. This is from Yoda. I used a lot of ellipses in my list this week because there's so much text in my favorites. Yoda says, when 900 years old you reach, look as good, you will not. And it was very playful, very cute. One of the last silly things Yoda says before he becomes one with the living force. It's a great line. I think about it fairly regularly. I just think it's just classic Yoda at his whimsical best. But also it's a very serious moment, so that comic relief is quite helpful, quite beneficial when you're watching it. Let's see. Number 4 for Mr. Fudge. No way, I thought you were blind, from Lando. A great line. Darren's number 4, there is still good in him. Luke Skywalker talking about his father. Burnt Waffle, number 4, no way, I thought you were blind. Another good one. Hey, I think you're looking off of Mr. Fudge's list there. Adam's number 4, when 900 years old you reach, look as good, you will not. Obviously, I love that one as my number 4 as well. Hans, Jason number 4, hey, it's me, Han Solo, right before he's going to go sneak up on some biker scouts. That's a great line, too. Number 4 for Liberty, it's against my programming to impersonate a deity. Yes, that's pretty fun. We heard that one, and it's so good. Number 4 for Robert. Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. I can't say it as well as Ian McDermott. Nobody can. But it's a really nasty speech, as you said, Robert. Next, number 4, many Bothans died to bring us this information. I wonder if we'll ever see kind of how that came about. Number 4 for Mary, the Force is strong in my family. My father has it, I have it, and my sister has it. Which is awesome when they played that in the Force Awakens trailer. Do you remember that? Number 4 for Blake is too late for me, son. Prequels really add a lot to that line. Seeing Anakin fall to the dark side and how he's stuck, even with his son wanting to help, is really deep. Yes, it is. Definitely. Leo's is the same as mine. 900 years old, you reach, look as good, you will not. Mary says, I almost wrote down the Yoda 900-year-old statement as well. I just really like it. It's really clever. Again, classic Yoda. Number 3. Let's go to number 3. Obi-Wan Kenobi to Luke Skywalker, kind of a variation on a certain point of view. He says, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. How prescient that comment is in the real world, even today. A lot of wisdom there. Many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. Perspective. What we bring to the table, our expectations, all of that. It all ties into this. It's an incredible statement. Obi-Wan Kenobi is, of course, one of the all-time greats. Let's see. Number 3 for Burnt Waffle. Nice work, Chewie. Nice work. Great, Chewie. Great. Always thinking with your stomach. That's funny. Robert's number 3 is more machine now than man, twisted and evil. That whole exchange is so interesting. What Obi-Wan wants, how anti-Jedi it is. It just shows kind of his loss of faith. I think, to a degree. Jason 3, the Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation. When people say that Vader wasn't jokey, like when he makes some cracks in Rogue One, I think, did you see Return of the Jedi? Because he makes a lot of jokes in there, and they're always that kind of dark humor. Liberty's number 3, so what I told you was true from a certain point of view. Another part from that great conversation. Mr. Fudge is number 3, like my 4, when 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not. Darren's number 3, the Emperor's not as forgiving as I am, from Darth Vader. Iconic. Mary's 3, Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view, just like my number 3. Next 3, your overconfidence is your weakness, and the Emperor says, your faith in your friends is yours. It's really so good. It took me forever to fully hear what the Emperor was saying there, and then once I did, it just hit me even harder. Number 3 for Adam, it's against my programming to impersonate a deity. 3PO, of course. Number 3 for Blake, it's a trap. Come on, how could it not be on here? It's pop culture gold, and that's why I avoided it. Because it becomes sort of its own thing. But that I'm glad you did though, Blake, because just because it becomes popular, becomes a meme, or becomes whatever in other things, doesn't mean it's not good. The reason it keeps being repeated is because it's so powerful and dramatically effective. Number 3 for Leo, same as Blake. It's a trap. Love it. Okay. Well, there's only 2 more left on our list. Number 2 for me. I think Liberty mentioned this earlier, and I didn't really say much about it because I was waiting. But when Chewie and Han are reunited, and Han is in his hibernation sickness, and he's like, wait, I'm out of it for a little while, and everybody gets delusions of grandeur. And I had to have my mom explain that line and repeat it to me. I didn't know what it meant. I swear Star Wars helped improve my vocabulary with some of the language and dialogue used. But Han's like, what? Luke's crazy. Can't even take care of himself, much less rescue anybody. That could have very well been my number 2 as well. Just the idea of delusions of grandeur and him mocking Luke. He doesn't know what Luke has become or what he's going to be. Nobody does, really, at this point. But it's fun. Again, really great lighthearted stuff in a pretty heavy movie. All right, let's see what the rest of you have. Number 2 for Mary, a Jedi Knight. Just like mine, I think Mary and I have the same list for these last couple. Number 2 for Mr. Fudge, of course. It's a trap. Excuse me. Darren's number 2. Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. Robert's number 2. This one hasn't been brought up yet. So you have a twin sister. Jason's number 2. The force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. And my sister has it. That reveal was so wild. Liberty's number 2. It's a trap. Blake, you beat me by just a bit. This is my husband's favorite Star Wars quote. He says it all the time. Oh, that's funny. I got to meet your husband. I bet he's a fun person. Mary's has not changed my 4 and 5. We'd be 4 for 4, Dan. Oh, wow. How about it? Burr Waffles, number 2. Boba Fett. Boba Fett where? Boom. And the anticlimactic Boba Fett goes into the Sarlacc pit, in which we didn't know what happened to him. We thought he was gone for decades. Number 2 by Nick. Just for once, let me look at you with my own eyes. From Anakin, he says, I always tear up at this part. It's pretty powerful, isn't it? Really is. Okay. Let's go to Adams. Someone must have told him about my little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab by Lando Calrissian. I use this line every time I get promoted. Now that is good, Adam. I'm going to have to remember to use that. Incorporate that into my vernacular. Leo's number 2. Your overconfidence is your weakness. And then, of course, your faith in your friends is yours. Great one, Leo. Number 2 for Blake. Another one for Boba Fett. Boba Fett where? To line me, my brother, to this day will just randomly say while playing video games online. It's sentimental, but also to what I think is a lazy destiny that led to my boy Tamir Morrison reviving the legend. I always liked that happened because they made him such a big deal. And then he kind of got a little karmic intervention. I don't know, but I understand. A lot of people want it to be more exciting in this big sweeping fight sequence, but I don't know. It's kind of poetic in a way. But of course, as you said, he came back, and Tamir Morrison is the best. Darren's in one, there is another Skywalker. Yoda, big news at the time this movie was released. Huge news. Huge. Which is why, well, a lot of people like the machete order for the reveal of the twins, and I do too. That whole thing that Yoda drops that truth bomb at the end is pretty powerful. But now it's time, speaking of powerful, for our number one quote from Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. For me, it's when Luke at the end triumphantly throws away that lightsaber, which I couldn't believe when I was a kid, says, I am a Jedi, like my father before me. I mean, that is awesome narrative. And I think the older I get, the more we learn about Star Wars, the more impactful and powerful and wonderful that is. And that was cool as a kid, but it took on this whole life of itself in a very positive, mythological way, a very archetypal way, like this declaration of self in front of the biggest evil in the galaxy. It's pretty profound. It's just a great sequence, and I love it. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And that looks like some of you have the exact same one. How about it? Mary and I have the same one yet again. Jason and I and Mary have it. Mr. Fudge says, Boba Fett where? A great line. Liberties. Same as me and Mary and Jason. And let's see who else. Adams says, Luke, when I go on, I am the last of the Jedi. Will you be? Yoda's death still hits me hard even after 40 years. Wow. Oh, I get it. I totally get it. You already have, Luke. You were right. You were right about me. Tell your sister you were right. And that's from Burnt Waffle, a great one. Powerful. Leo's, the force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. And my sister has it. Mr. Fudge Honorable Mention. Here we go again by 3PO. Roberts is the same as many of us. I'm a Jedi like my father before me. And so's Blake's too. Wow, I think this might be the most prevalent one we've ever had on these lists. I mean, as far as I can remember. Blake says, Luke throwing away that lightsaber and uttering that line hits me. It's him acknowledging his weaknesses, but deciding to face it head on and choose the correct path. Something all of us in a personal fight, all of us on a personal fight level fight for. Sorry. Blake tapped it right. I read it wrong. Follow Blake's advice. Mary says, I shouldn't have changed my 4 and 5. Had a little diet in the force going. That's right. And Nick's the same. I'm a Jedi like my father before me. How about that? Excuse me. Pardon me for coughing. Well, great job, everyone. So now we're in a bit of a quandary because, we've done the first 6 movies, but we haven't done Rogue One or Solo or any of the sequel trilogy. So that's 5 weeks of content, and topics that we can exchange and talk about. But the Bad Batch is coming up. As I said, so let me just show you next week's topic, just so you know. It's just going to be a fun, reminiscing thing, sort of a hype thing where we get excited. It's a little pep rally for the Bad Batch. So, top 5 things you love about the Bad Batch. Anything from season 1 or season 2. Talk about the characters, talk about the plot moments, the music, anything. Just top 5 things you love about the Bad Batch. Get that list ready. And next week we will celebrate it as we get ready for season 3 of the Bad Batch, which drops, the 21st, right? Speaking of that, let's go into Ask Dan Z. I got some news for you. So Robert's honorable mention, when the tentacle of the Sarlacc grabs his leg. That's funny. Blake says he loves the next top 5. I'm glad, dude. I appreciate that. And Mary says Rekka, because that's Omega. Liberty says, I always use that line when discussing Anakin's fall. If only he had the control that his son had, things might have been different. Luke showed such strength when facing the Emperor. Yes, but Luke also had, I agree. He had more strength. He had different upbringing. But that's right. That's right. Or what would it have been like if Qui-Gon stuck around? That too. Darren's honorable mention, 3PO, that you tell that slimy piece of worm-written filth will get no such pleasure from us. And then that is the way of things, the way of the Force from Yoda. 2 great ones. 2 great ones, Darren. All right, so I'm so excited about this, and I'm hoping that you saw it today. It didn't get a lot of push on social media. I was busy, and I'm sure everybody else was busy, but I released a great show today. Normally I release Coffee with Kenobi's live feed on Tuesdays and the regular show on Thursdays, but this week and this week only, I switched it around because when you get content like this, you got to release it. So I got the great pleasure of interviewing Jennifer Corbett, who is the head writer and executive producer of The Bad Batch. Brad Rao is the director and executive producer, and then Michelle Ang, who is Omega. So I got to talk with all of them yesterday alongside several of my peers in the Star Wars fan site community, and that is on your podcast feed now. All the podcasts can be found on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, anywhere you can listen to podcasts, Google Podcasts for as long as that platform is still around. But definitely check it out. And that's not all with The Bad Batch. There's going to be more awesome stuff coming your way. So be sure to listen to that episode. I think you will really, really enjoy it. Do I think Tech is dead or will come back in the next season? Well, Burnt Waffle, as you probably know, or maybe you don't know, or your dad can tell you, I don't speculate. So I don't know. I would love to see Tech again, but I think, like I do about any time a character dies, unless it's obviously with Uncle Ben, especially in Spider-Man, if the character is going to die, it has to have narrative weight, and the cost has to have repercussions that resonate and reverberate throughout the story. So if Tech comes back, that's cool, but I also think, I don't know, I think it's okay for him to be dead because it adds so much power, and his sacrifice shows so much love. So that's my thought on that one. Honorable mention for Liberty. It's an older code server. It checks out. Oh, that's highly quoted. Very good. Blake was, when am I coming back to Florida, Mr. Zehr? So, Blake, I don't know, man. I would love to. I know that in the summer of 2025, I'm coming back, of course, for the Disney Wish. What's my favorite Bad Batch episode from the first two seasons? Honestly, that's incredibly hard. I'd have to kind of skim them all again, but the one that comes to mind right away is the one where Crosshair goes to that frost planet, that cold planet, and he teams up with some clones, and at the end he ends up getting arrested for killing an Imperial officer, because that's when he realizes what the Empire is, and he doesn't ignore it anymore. So that one's probably my favorite one. Favorite piece of merch or souvenir from Batu? Well, definitely, it's when I built my lightsaber, my legacy lightsaber. I'm pointing to it back. It's over my shoulder. I don't know if you can see it there. It's underneath that picture, but that's the one I built. That's my favorite one, for sure. What do I think of the new Deadpool trailer? I thought it was fun. I'm not the biggest Deadpool person, but I appreciate the cleverness of it. I'm tend to lean more towards stuff that I can watch with my son. But I thought it was cool. And getting to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I think there are some characters that are just, that the actor plays them, just embody them. Christopher Reeve as Superman, Chris Evans as Captain America. I can't believe I couldn't think of that. And then Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So I'm thrilled to see more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I'm bummed I can't watch it with my son, but someday. Dan's favorite episode is the one we covered together. Beautiful episode. Hope season 3 is even more powerful. There you go. Yeah, okay. As I've said, I've seen the first 8 episodes of season 3 of The Bad Batch, and I'm not allowed to say anything, but I did post on social media what I thought about it. So check it out. And I posted it on the CWK Cafe, on Threads, everywhere. So I'm a fan. I am a fan. I'll get to review more about it as we get closer. What are general plans you have for the Wish? I mean, just go to Florida, go on the trip and return, or visit Disney World, or visit anywhere else. So we're still working on that, but it's going to incorporate Walt Disney World too. That's for sure, Darren. I can definitely promise you that. Mr. Fudge, hope to see you next week. Looking forward to seeing you all next week. It's a pleasure as always, an absolute pleasure to chat with you all. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you. Make sure to show love and kindness to everybody you run into and meet. Obviously, that is the way of things. That is the way of the Force. It's the right thing to do. And it just makes for a happy world. Blake says, love you, Dan, the CWK family. You all make this the best fan community there is. Well, Blake, thank you. It looks like we had 4 years of the CWK Cafe. Is that what Terry posted this week in the cafe? I was blown away because we've got such a great community. You've all been so kind and complimentary. But you're all the oxygen of this Star Wars fandom. I'm thrilled to be a part of it and to help provide a place where we can talk family-friendly, spoiler-free, and just have some fun. Have a great week, everyone. Remember to check out The reverse order today is the new Coffee with Kenobi, and then I will post the audio for this one on Thursday. So you'll still get your two shows, just in a little bit of a different order. Either way, this is the live podcast and the podcast you're looking for. And also be on the lookout for something extra special this weekend. I'm Dan Zehr, and I will see you next time. Rising moons, may the stars light your way. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here.